So mostly today we'll do the SAT review, but just wanted to check in on continuous compounding. The first one is basically just a straightforward application of the formula. As soon as you read that it's compounded continuously, you can write the E base equation. And then plug in, we have 12,600. And I guess we don't need the parentheses. How do we write the rate as a decimal? Good. And then 12 years. Okay? And that's just carefully, but plug it into your calculator.
Okay.
Remember, you're using E to the X button down here. And you get 18,498.63. How'd that one go? I mean, it's really just recognizing that it says continuous, and then you're good from there. Yeah. All right, next one. So we read again continuous. So start with your equation. And it says John invests a sum of money, meaning we don't know how much he invested initially. So, but we do know later on it's 1912.41. P is what we're solving for. And then the rate 0.0263 times 15. And I did parentheses, you don't need it. But anyway, how do we get P by itself? That's the question in this one.
You divide 1,912.41 by E.
Yeah. I mean, this is, all of this is just a number. So we can just divide by that. That will give us P. All that cancels. So on this one, just be careful that your calculator's putting stuff in the right place. I mean, if it's like this one, it shouldn't be an issue, but I don't know everybody's calculator. And so he initially invested $1,289. We'll just round that. How'd that one go? Right here for your quiz.
You care if I take it and spell carrots? Or do you want me to take it
What is going on over there right now?
in? It's just a study hall.
So when you walk in there, hand her this page.
Okay.
And then this page is no calculator.
Okay.
Once you're done, take it up to her,
And then switch.
and then you can use your graphing calculator.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, and number 8 on the calculator section,
Mm-hmm.
it's about ants. You can scratch it off.
Okay, thank you.
All right, how'd the homework go? Some challenges, some good ones. Let's go ahead and check those. We'll just check answers first. Then we'll do. So 21, -3. 22 is B. 23 is D. 24 is A. 25 is D. Want me to do that again?
Now we're good.
Somebody said yes, so. -3, 21, -3. 22 is B. 23 is D. 24 is A. 25 is D. Okay, so mark them. We'll come back to them as needed. The next page was 44, correct?
Yep.
And then what problem number was that? What was it? Okay, so number 18 is B. 19 is C. 20 is 410. And how far did it go up to on that page? We'll just keep going, right? What was the last problem number?
You just said,
It was page 45, but what's the last problem number?
23.
Anyway, 21 then is negative 19. 22 is D. 23 is D. And let's just make sure that's all. No, that keeps going to to problem 25.
yeah, because it should be a.
Yeah, 24 is A. 25 is C. Right. What of those would you like to do? And feel free to pull out your Chromebook and look it up. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I do the first one?
Yeah.
Whether I'm stupid or.
No, you're not.
I just don't understand.
Okay. So I want everybody, even if you didn't do it, I want you getting involved with this because right now we're not going to talk about, unfortunately, because of the way the test is, we need to kind of step out of Algebra 2 class and into test mode. Okay? And for that, it's kind of dumb, but you don't necessarily have to know how to do this by hand. Okay? And the best way actually is to not do it by hand. So I'm telling you, when you see a problem like this, don't do it by hand because it's probably going to take too long and you have a chance to mess up. So if I'm saying don't do it by hand, what am I probably saying to do? Yeah, so grab Desmos, I'll wait for you. You will have access to your graphing calculator. You should take it. But anything graphing, I want you to do on Desmos because it's just better in terms of being able to see things. It's easier to work with. It doesn't require you to push 50 buttons before you get an answer. But for calculations, you should use your calculator. I know you guys aren't listening because you're on your computers, but I'll tell you that later. So Desmos graphing calculator. Here's how you work this. You put one of the sides of the equation in to 1y. I'm going to call it y1, even though Desmos doesn't care. And then the other side of the equation in for y2. So make two separate equations in Desmos. Okay, so first thing you notice on mine is I'm zoomed way in, and actually if you looked up here at first, this is what I first saw. So you just know that you might have to scroll around a little, like don't panic. But with Desmos, that's so much easier than your calculator, right? You can just grab and move, and then zoom out is just hitting the minus button. Again, if you have to graph something, use your graphing calculator, and use that tool often throughout the test. Listen, everybody look at me. This is not a test of how well you can do all the math. It's just not. It's a test of how well you get the correct answer. And so if you do no calculations on paper and you use Desmos the whole time, like if you could, it's the same score as if you could come up here and teach this, right? So that's the goal. Use your tools, use your time effectively. Don't feel like you have to go in and like write everything out. Now I'm not saying don't write, because some of these you need to see stuff. And we'll do some more examples, but I mean, this one is as quick as entering those two and clicking on that button or that point right there, right? Question says, what is the smallest solution? Well, we know solutions are where the two intersect. And the smallest one, of course, is the one further left. So -3. That would take you probably 30 seconds to type in and click versus going through all the algebra, which you guys know how to do, but it would probably take double or triple the time to do that.
How did you just decide if it was -3 over 5?
Oh,
Oh, it's because what I said.
yeah.
I did it.
Uh-huh.
I didn't not to get that, but like my numbers are the same as hers, and hers is the same as yours. Like her graph is the same as yours. But my graph doesn't look like that.
I mean, our scale, if hers is the same, my scale goes like from -30 to 40 on the x-axis. What does yours do?
No, but hers is
No, like-
literally like.
Mine is at 0. Like. I'm like.
Do you have all the parentheses? Is the squared inside?
Yeah. Like in like that.
Not inside
Okay.
the parentheses.
Not like it's like right next to the parentheses inside the square.
Okay, I'll come look at it. Just leave
Okay.
it for a second. Anyway, that's the best way to do that one. And for testing, again, you're not being tested. Yes, you're being tested on your knowledge of math. Like for this one, though, what are you being tested on? Honestly. Knowing what a solution is. What does that mean? Right? That's what you're being tested on.
The smallest. And how to use it.
And yeah, I guess also smallest. Like that just means furthest left. That's all. Like if you know that a solution is a point of intersection and you're looking for the left one, you don't have to know any algebra. You can type it in Desmos and look at a picture. Right? Okay.
How do you get to Desmos on the test?
It's the calculator.
Yeah, it is the calculator, like wherever you can click on the calculator.
Oh, that's useful.
Okay? And then some students told me yesterday, let's say my previous window for a previous problem was like here. Apparently when you click back into the calculator on another problem, it stays there.
Yeah.
So you will have to scroll around some.
Press
Probably.
the home button and it'll do that.
Okay.
So, like, scroll somewhere on the screen.
I just did.
Okay, and then hit the home button on the right.
Oh, I can change it.
You just bring it to the origin. But what if it's,
Well, but she's saying you can reset and start from there. Okay, so hit the home button. Good. Mine for this one is still too zoomed in. But that's easy to fix on Desmos, right? Okay, so again, on your calculator, you'd have to, first of all, mess with the window so you can see this. Then you would have to go second calc, point of intersection, first curve, second curve, and click through all those menus. And it's just dumb, right? So use Desmos. Again, I was saying for things you have to calculate, like if you had to do 315 times 24, that's your calculator, right? Your
If you were
handheld.
to take the SAT right now, what do you think you could get in like the math section?
I don't know. I don't really know. Like some of the hard problems are tough for everybody, honestly. I'll show you one in a second.
so you're saying that even you could get a perfect score?
I mean, I might. It depends what they do. Some of the hard problems are easy for me, and some it's like, wow, I didn't see it like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, any others out of that set that we should look at? Okay. Guys, number 24 is another one you can do on Desmos. As long as you know that that means plug x plus 5 in for each x, you can go plug that in on Desmos and immediately see your answer. So do that. Okay? This is what you're putting in Desmos. And honestly, it's probably faster to do it this way than do it by hand. Plug that in, and it says, what value does of x does g of x reach a minimum? How would you find that by hand while you're plugging it in? Can you think of that? How do we find a minimum by hand? See? Good thing we have Desmos, right?
When you circled
Did you start with the F?
Yeah, I did. It's f of x plus 5. Yeah, so really this is testing, do you understand function notation? And after that, if you use Desmos, that's all you need to know. By hand, again, this is what kind of shape is this? Before you even graph it, what kind of shape is it? Parabola. So how do we find the minimum of a parabola? It's at the vertex. How do you find the vertex in standard form?
Oh, it's up.
Negative b over 2a, right? But think about all you'd have to do for that. You would have to expand this binomial, x plus 5 times x plus 5. And then multiply all that by 4. And then combine any like terms that you have. And then find b, negative b over 2a. That's a lot of work. Whereas if you just plug this in, it's not. Alright, so let's demonstrate. I feel like it's probably, how do you enter stuff on your Chromebook? Can you use like keys? Okay. So that's definitely faster than doing it up here. It's really slow on the board.
Like the square root and square, you just do.
Yeah.
You don't.
How do you square on your keyboard?
It's a carry.
She's like, what's a carrot?
No, I know what the carrot looks like for reason.
Alright, anyway, so here's another example. Like when I first looked, I don't see the graph. Well, did that mean I put it in wrong? Maybe.
No, it's because you
But it's up here.
to the left or right.
There it is.
Not left, not left.
Okay. And then it says for what value of x is it a minimum? You can just click there. Negative 13. And you're marking it and moving on. Much better. Okay? Use Desmos. Obviously you can't use it on all of them. But you can use it on a lot. Alright, any others? Will you please take a look? Because I don't want you to get one wrong and then not ask about it. We can take a lot from, not the math, but the strategy of it. We can learn a lot from that. It's like a superhero. We can tank about 10 o'clock.
Probably.
Oh yeah, I have no idea.
Any others? Are you
I
even
just
looking?
guessed them.
Did you get them all?
No. I got like
Can we
probably
do
half, not
22?
even that.
What?
Sorry, can you just explain why there's, in 22, there's x intersects x? Oh, wait.
Well, actually, I think it's good to talk about this one. This is, guys, look right here. This is another function notation one, where you are plugging x minus 1 in for x. So really these should be x minus 1 plus 6, x minus 1 plus 5, x minus 1 plus 1. So basically just stick x minus 1 where the x's are and then solve for your zeros. What's the zero of this one? Okay, so it becomes x plus 5, but the zero is negative 5. How about that one?
Negative 4.
And that one is 0.
Yep.
So add those together, you get negative 9. Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay, and here's the thing. Look at all that reading to do that simple job, right?
I really tried to trick you with these questions.
The wording and all the garbage they stick in a problem is part of the issue. It makes it hard, okay?
So basically they're making a literature test about math.
Some of the problems, yeah. Any others on this page? Okay. All right. How about page 44? I don't really know where that is. It's 41. 2, 3, 4. Okay. Any of these?
What was 18 asking?
Alright, yeah, look at this one. Just even to read it is going to take half of your time, right?
I got 18 wrong. I was very
Okay, so this function gives some predicted BM, body mass, never mind, I was going to say BMI, of a certain animal T days after it was born in a wildlife reserve. Who cares where it was born, right? Alright, where T is less than or equal to 390. What does that tell you?
Whatever T is, has to be.
But what is T?
Oh, the
Days.
Yeah, so we're up to like a year and a third or so, right? Year and a fourth. Okay, which of the following is the best interpretation? Not a year and a fourth, a year and a tenth. Is the best interpretation of the statement? How would you say that? M of 330. Good. So, what is it asking? That just ignore every other word on here. What does that thing mean? Okay. So the mass of this animal 330 days in is what that says, right? In context. What is its mass 330 days in? It says it's approximately 362. So, which answer is that? Yeah, so B. There's a lot of words there to figure that out, right?
So that's,
Exactly.
that's,
Yeah, it's all notation. That's the only thing.
Okay, we need to rethink this entire test. 'Cause this is,
Like they give you this function rule that makes you feel like you need to plug something in and do something with it, but it's just interpreting what the notation means. I mean, notation is a really big deal in math, so it makes sense that they want to test it some. But this is the third one in a row that we've seen function notation is really the question. Okay. How about number 20? How do you do that one?
Oh, isn't that what we happened?
That's current unit material.
Oh,
It isn't
Oh,
per.
It's not per.
it's not very much.
You would log.
Can you do that one on Desmos?
Probably.
I'm going to tell you two things, and I feel like we should write this down, but if you have an equation, meaning two sides, like the first one we did, or if you have a function rule, chances are you can do it on Desmos. How would you do this one on that? Go plug it in. Where does the bacteria population start? I mean, you got to know that. Okay, so it says, how much time does it take for it to double? So on Desmos, what are you looking for? When it hits 120,000, right? Like, you can solve this on Desmos, and the slowest part will be scrolling, but you don't have to solve it with logs. This is actually a log problem, but you don't have to do it that way. Do you see how in some ways this test is testing how clever you are? In addition to how well you know math? Do you have to put T?
Oh, I just put eggs.
Yeah. Okay. All right, and of course when we first look at this, it's not going to show up. Why not?
Because it's really high.
I mean, its y-intercept is 60,000, right? So, alright, so there's the y-intercept. Here's an easier way to do that. Let me show you. So you don't have to scroll through and figure it out. Look, we know we want it to be how much?
120,000.
So just put in 120,000. Just y equals 120,000, and that's going to put a horizontal line right where you need to look. Nice, right? Now you can zoom in just on that one point, or maybe just click around, but I'd probably zoom first. Okay. Quick, right? 410. Of course, now for the next problem, our graph is way out there, so we'll have to zoom back in, but that's okay. Now, here's another way you could have solved this conceptually. Do you see how if our exponent is 1, it's 2 to the 1, which means it's twice as big? Okay, so you could have thought through it that way too. But just saying, if you're stuck, use Desmos.
So if T was 400,
Yeah, and then it's 60,000 times 2, which is
Oh,
double.
actually not.
that was even fast.
It was faster if you saw it, yep.
So where?
Okay, so we're back to 19 on page 44. Do you guys remember on any similar figures, actually any figures, the order of the letters tells you what corresponds, right?
Yeah.
So Z is the last letter and so is T. And then it goes on to say such that X, Y, and Z correspond to RST. It tells you that, but some of them don't tell you, so just keep that in mind. The measure of angle Z is 20, and 2XY equals RS. What is the measure of angle T? So why did they tell you that?
So
There you
check
are.
you out.
Yeah. Don't you love them?
Because they think we're stupid.
Good job, Tom. Don't let them think that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll do 24, but any others on this page that you want to do?
25.
Also 25.
I got
Okay.
confused there.
Oh, what was 22? Not gonna lie, I thought that, oh, is that a division or a plus sign?
Where are we?
Oh, that's why I messed it up.
Where are you looking?
At 25.
Oh. Well, are we doing 25 first?
Just do 24.
Oh, goodness.
Actually, we need to do 25.
Oh,
Yeah.
because like yesterday, when I was driving, my mom was like, no, get to the left and then go to the mail. But she's like, oh, it's not. You can go back there.
All right, there's the picture, start of the picture for this one. Inscribed, remember, just means it's drawn inside. That's all. It says the radius is 20 root 2 over 2. Can you tell me why they didn't write this in a simplified form?
Very well.
Probably. How could we rewrite it?
10 root 2.
10 root 2. Okay? Why not just do it that way? Where should I draw the radius in this picture?
To one of the corners.
So that is 10 root 2. Where else would be good to draw this?
All of the other. Direct.
Well, I don't need all the corners. Because we're just trying to find the length of one of these sides.
Why
Like,
don't you find it?
like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Right? And then all of the sides are the same. So, what kind of triangle are we looking at right now?
Right.
I saw.
Why is it a right triangle?
Because you're from
And
somewhere
a
from the center and you're going into each corner.
Woo! Did you hear that? The diagonals are perpendicular in a square. So it's a right triangle, but let's continue because it's not just a right triangle. What kind of right triangle is it?
Isosceles.
So what is the measure of these angles? Okay. So, can you use 45, 45, 90 triangle relationship to solve for this length? Which
Yes.
is S or whatever side, whatever letter.
If I could remember.
Okay, oh, if I could only remember. Ready? This is actually something they provide. If you click on the reference button, they do actually give you your special right triangles. Most of this stuff is not very useful, but that one is actually on there. Okay? So we are looking at 10 root 2 right here. What do we do to go to the hypotenuse?
5 root 2.
No. I mean, you do have to be able to read it.
10 root 2
This says S times root 2. So S is 10 root 2.
So then,
So
S
this
root,
root-
or 10 root 2 times root
There you go. 10 root 2 times root 2.
That was like my favorite.
Okay, what is 10 root 2 root 2?
That was one of them.
What's
Oh,
10
they-
root 2 root 2?
10 root 4.
And if you don't know, what are you going to do?
Put it in decimals.
Or your calculator. Like, don't mess it up because you try to do something you don't have to do.
It's funny.
What is the goal for this stupid test?
To pass it.
To get the
No.
answers right.
To get the right answers, right?
Well, that's technically to pass it as well,
Oh.
because you need the right answers to pass.
Alright. The goal is to get the right answers, not prove that you're a mathematician. Unfortunately, how frustrating
But
as
if
a
you get the right
mathematician.
answers, then they think you're a mathematician.
Yeah, if they don't know really what they're testing, yeah.
So,
Do the test.
I mean, yeah, they're good, but it's.
Like that one had math in it. It was good.
the only
The
one.
first one so far.
Well, the first one that had math in it, it just so happened to be that it had the cheat sheet.
Alright, which expression is equivalent? What is this? What kind of problem, I mean?
Oh, that's
That's last
adding
year.
fractions. right?
Yeah, we just finished it, right?
Yeah,
It's
okay.
figuring out a common denominator and then adding the two together. That's really all.
So,
So,
it means an
Factor this.
Y.
What is, if you factor, what are you going to get?
X.
Take out
Take.
X minus 8 and X.
Take out an x and a y, right? And you'll get x minus 8.
Yeah.
So that becomes x squared y and negative 8xy.
So just do it.
So what does this side need?
An X and a
An
Y.
X.
Yep.
Say
Okay. So that side's fine. Then we'll go over here. We'll get x y squared plus 12xy plus xy minus 8y. That's the numerator. Everybody see where that came from?
Yeah.
And then the denominator is xy times x minus 8. Okay, anything we can do in here?
The XY and the XY.
Yeah, so we get xy squared and then 12xy and xy is 13xy. And probably at this point of it we could pick our answer, huh? Looks like C. Because if we redistribute down here in the denominator, we know it's back to the same. Okay? So that's another strategy or thing to keep in mind as you work. You don't have to finish all your work like you do on a classroom math test. As soon as you have enough information to correctly pick the answer, then stop. Like, I don't need to keep writing that out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, how about 23 or 20, whatever that one is?
What about 20, whatever that one is?
So technically, they completely disregard how.
So for which of the following tables are all the values of x and their corresponding values of y solutions to the given inequality? What is a solution to an inequality?
What makes it?
True.
Isn't it like the graph has shape?
What makes it true, and then what'd you say?
What I say?
Yeah, what'd you say?
Like you have to shade the graph, right?
The shading shows which values are true. So on this graph, how do we graph it? You could graph it on Desmos if you didn't know.
Graph a line of where it is.
Yeah, where is that though?
Negative 18 is a line or something. 13 over.
So it's pretty steep, right? Because it's positive 13 slope.
Oh.
And then where do we shade? Above or below? So you could use Desmos. I think this is pretty fast. But if you forgot how to graph, then you would use Desmos to at least get a line. I would, at least. But I think for this, it's pretty fast. But these are all table values. So how do you check? I could see this potentially being a slow problem. So Cooper said we could plug all these points in and see. What do you think?
No, that not work.
You could make a table in your handheld calculator with 3, 5, and 8. So if I was doing this problem, I would plug in that function just as a line. So 13x minus 18. And then I would go to the table, and I don't need to go by that, by 0.5. Let's go by ones.
You still have to.
Yeah. Start, please, at -3. There we go. Okay. So we have 321 and
5 is 47.
547.
Oh,
886. So is A correct?
Yes.
No, it's not.
Why?
the answer was D. Because.
Why is A not correct?
But it says on the answer.
Oh, because it's not greater than.
Because.
Hold on. Why is A incorrect?
Because it's not greater than or equal
It doesn't have an or equal, right?
to. So
But now we know that this shows the values. Does that make sense? Like the minimum value is 21, 47, and 86. It has to be higher than that. So B is wrong because of 42. C is wrong because of both of those. D is okay. See how that helps, right? You can still use your calculator to help you.
I just plugged it in and saw it was. Saw like what Y value was. Made it true.
Okay. Are you learning anything?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot.
Okay.
How to choose the SAT.
I'm hoping you're learning more about strategy. Here's a strategy. Try that one. Let's say you come across this, probably, well, actually not probably, this is definitely a Module 2 upper tier problem. What would you do? Like when I say in real life, I want you to think, what would you do if you actually came across this problem or one like it and really had no idea how to do it?
Yeah, real.
What did you say?
I said, ask my AI.
Oh.
Google it.
I don't have Snapchat, but I would download it.
Snapchat? What would that do?
Snapchat,
AI.
it's an AI. It's called my AI.
Yeah, I use it to like get ideas for my essays. I don't cheat. I don't cheat. But I'm like, no, because her essays so. But I'm like, what did you think of this? And then I
Her,
just,
who?
well, mine's a girl. My AI's a girl.
Oh my gosh.
I would download Snapchat just for that.
Yeah, I'm saying you're sitting in your test next Tuesday
Oh.
or Wednesday, whatever day, and you get this. What would you do?
I'd probably
I would
bookmark
Click
it
a
and
random
move on.
Yeah,
Okay,
bookmark
Bradley
it.
says skip. I'd say mark it and come back, but
Oh,
skip
but
it
if
for
you-
now,
If you just,
right?
if you reach the end, there's, before you press like I'm done with this module, it shows you if you've completed or haven't completed.
Okay, so good. Even if you haven't marked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was trying to mark it. I couldn't figure out how to.
There's
Well,
just
maybe
a
it's
bookmark thing next to the number of the question, I think.
okay. Anyway, point is, guys, you read it, you think for 20 seconds, and then if you're not sure of a direction, then please move to the next question and come back to it. Okay. In other words, you either need to be reading or working, not just stalling and sitting there pondering.
Okay.
Until the end if you have time, okay? Because this one really does leave quite an open-ended process and something you've never seen before, actually. It will look familiar. Let's do it really fast. Do you agree that C and 2C are x values, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have two functions. We have, not two, we have a to the C minus b equals 8. And we have a to the 2c minus b equals 350. Good so far?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this is what kind of a function? It's an exponential, so you don't immediately think of setting it up like a system of equations like this, do you?
Yeah.
Okay. And so, and I agree, like, it's not, how do I say it? It's not intuitive, I guess. It's not like your first thought. But we can combine these two. How would you do that?
Yeah.
How do we, can we add those two? Okay, yeah, so I can't, these are not like terms because they have different powers, right? Okay. And then minus 2b. If we subtract them, what would happen to this though?
I would just
Okay, so maybe we should do that instead. Are you guys good if I subtract it upside down?
sure.
Just because I could have written it that way if I wanted. And then I don't have negative numbers. So negative, we're going up. Negative b minus negative b. Is everybody good on that? 350 minus 8. Good? Okay. So we've gotten rid of b. If I bring this 342 over, does it somewhat look familiar?
Oh, yeah.
What does what does it look like? Kind of. Yeah, if we ignore these, do you see a quadratic?
Yeah.
Okay. So we can actually factor that like a quadratic. Would you ever think to do this?
No.
Okay, but this is why I'm saying this is another strategy to think through. Whoa, right?
It's a big number to factor.
But definitely you would want a calculator to factor that. So find factors of negative 342 that add up to negative 1. Can you do that for me, please?
I see it.
No. It's actually both of them are negative. So. Also, I don't think that's how that works.
It makes the table more.
Right? I don't think that's what you're wanting. Okay.
18, 19.
What were they?
18, 19.
Okay. So he found 18 and 19. So if we're starring this kind of idea, negative 342, 1, and then this is negative 1. So he found we need negative 19, positive 18. Okay. You do have to recognize that a times a to the c times a to the c. What do you do with those? When you multiply with an exponent, what do you do with the exponent? Yeah, so do you see how that's a to the 2c? That's kind of a subtle thing when you're looking at it, but that's what it is. Okay, there is another way you could think through this, but we'll leave it at this for now. Okay, so a to the c is 19. A to the c is negative 18. Right?
And now you can plug one in.
Because aren't they both possible values?
Well, but look what it says. If c is a positive constant.
So it has to be 19.
Well, but be careful because remember,
Oh, yeah.
a negative exponent doesn't make a negative answer, right? Do you guys remember that from
Yeah.
Tuesday or so? But here's the thing, like I can't take a number to a negative power unless the base is positive. Blech. Unless the base is negative, I can't make a number negative with a negative exponent. Anyway, you guys are right. We're going to take the 19. Okay?
That was more than two.
Huh?
Oh wait, how long do we have for each question? How many
Minute
questions?
This
are
is
there?
one you would want to bank time for. You have 44 math questions. 22 in Module 1, 22 in Module 2.
Well, you get a long time compared to reading.
Well, what if
And it's 70 total minutes. So it's
So
like a
Module-
minute and a half average, but like some of them, I don't know if I showed you the one. It's like, actually we did. W plus 350 equals 357. Did we look at that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then what is W?
Yeah, and it was like a 5-second problem. So see how you could bank quite a bit of time with that, right?
Yeah, but
So hopefully you have done that by the time you're here.
what if A is negative and then C is positive 3? Then it could be a negative.
True.
So
Does it tell us A is
It doesn't tell us anything.
about A? If C is a positive constant, okay, what is the possible value of B?
so then just guess, bro. Guess and move on. What if, like, they probably wouldn't even have people on it.
Okay, well, so we can take this and say A to the C. We know A to the C is 19. So we can say A to the C minus B. I'm sorry I have to scroll. Right? That's this. Is 8. Right? That's like one of the values of the function. Notice we don't know 2C, so we can't use that point. We have to use this one, just because we only know A to the C. So A to the C minus B in this case is 8. A to the C 19 minus B is 8. So B is 11. So that's a possible value of B. It's not the only one. So like Broly was saying, there's other options, but this is a possible value. Weird, right? And way outside of the routine. So don't waste your time on one like this. Okay? You're not going to get 100%. Save this till the end. If it happens to be a multiple choice, you could just do a good guess, potentially. Yeah. Any questions on it? All right, we're going to kind of go back and forth a little. Did we do that one yesterday? This one? Do we have to do it?
Let's go.
Use Desmos. See if you can use the strategy I showed you yesterday to solve that with Desmos. Or do it by hand. Let's see who's faster.
Are you gonna go to Harvard or something like that?
What do you want to be when you grow up?
Okay, so the
Astronaut?
by hand way is using, do you guys remember the discriminant?
Nope.
A little bit.
Okay, so in the quadratic formula,
All right.
the discriminant was this thing.
Yeah.
If it was positive, we had 2 real solutions, 2 real rational. If it was 0, we had 1, because this whole term would go away, and you only have negative b over 2a, if it was 0. And if it was negative, now we have a square root of a negative, which means we have no real solutions. They're all complex. Well, 2 of them are complex. The 2. So basically take that and set it less than 0, which is really finding where it is 0. Kind of, right? That's what he said by the negative thing, okay? In order to know what b, a, and c are, we do have to expand this out. So he just multiplied and got kx squared, and then negative 56x, and plus 16. That way we have a, b, c to plug into this. Okay? So negative 56 squared minus 4 times k times 16. Stop. Okay. What was that number, Ryan?
3,136.
Okay, and then you just solve that inequality for k. That's all. That's the by hand, and it's pretty fast. If you saw that that was what you did. If not, let's do it on Desmos. Okay. Again, it's you're given an equation, so you have 2 sides that you can enter. So if you didn't, do this with me on Desmos, please. Desmos. There we go. So we enter one side, y equals x This is so hard to do up here. Times k x minus 56. That's one side. And notice it already is telling us add a slider. That's nice. And then the other one is just negative 16. Okay. Everybody get caught up on that. Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. So we do want to add a slider for k. But before we do, notice we can't really see anything. Not informative, at least. Where is this line?
A little bit
Down. So we know we should scroll down there. Okay, but still, like the way it's zoomed in, I can't really tell what the blue thing is. We know it should be what shape? A parabola. So just zoom so you can see the other side of it. There it is. Okay? All right. In terms of solving graphically, we're making sure this doesn't cross at all. Everybody with me, right? So it says no solution, no real, so we can't let it cross. Well, right now it's crossing twice, and the vertex is way down here. So watch what happens when we increase k. So this is how you could do this if you forgot about the discriminant. Do you see how it's moving up towards that line?
Yeah.
The higher I make k? Okay, so just keep sliding it up. It's going to keep creeping up there towards the line. I mean, we're way away from it right now. We're still at negative 250. But we're getting close. But I'm maxed out. I went to 10, and it doesn't reach. So what do we do?
Change the slide.
Yeah, just click that and change it. You could like incrementally work up to it, but let's just get there. Like make it 75. Like who cares? We can get closer to it. Okay? So if I just scroll past, like I'm definitely past the green line at this point. Everybody see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I know it's not that big. So let's try to refine our results a little bit. Okay, I'm too high. So come down until I'm just past below. Right there, it's right on it. Roughly. Okay? So I need to go until it's an integer. What does that mean? Whole number. Okay, and then, that's where we get 50. Oh, I'm clearly not having a solution at this point. And that's the first whole number that shows that. Okay? Any questions on Desmos side of that?
If I had expanded it, could have found it.
Okay. Alright. Keep Desmos in mind. We have a lot of these to do.
Desmos is going to be the saving grace of this.
Try that one. This is one of the harder ones, but you know how to do it. You know the tools. Read it carefully first, and then notice a lot of these are least possible, or this one, greatest possible. Those are annoying, but you can do it.
You got the wrong function.
So basically, it's like we showed a bit ago where we're trying to get a common denominator. If you're doing it by hand, I mean. Okay? Take your cross products, like we said, to solve a rational equation. And then when you do that, you can expand out this quadratic. Okay? And then you could potentially take this to Desmos and look there, but you can also take this one to there. And we are looking for where the first biggest value, we'll say, where it has two solutions instead of just one, or 0. Okay? Alright. I will post some problems to do for Monday. Please have those done.